It was a successful try, so the account will not be locked. Hi and welcome to my channel. In today's video we will explore how attackers quietly test login combos against real targets and use that access to peek into sensitive file shares. We will use Kali Linux and a Windows Server 2022, so let's get started. First, a disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only. It is intended to demonstrate how attackers operate so defenders can better secure their environments. Do not use these techniques on any systems you don't own or have explicit permission to test. Unauthorized access is illegal and unethical. So this technique is known as password spraying, and it's effective especially over SMB. So in many corporate environments, especially those using Microsoft Active Directory, usernames often follow a predictable naming conventions. A common format is first name dot last name. So let's take a look here. I have this example Active Directory. And here we have many OUs, finance, HR, IT. And if you look at users, let's double click on this one and go to account. So you can see Olivia.Brown. This is a very common convention. So this consistency is helpful for users, but it also makes username enumeration and password spraying much easier for attackers. If an attacker can guess the naming format, for example, this one, Olivia Brown, they can generate a list of likely usernames using publicly available employee names from LinkedIn, company websites, or breached databases. When combined with weak or reused passwords like, I don't know, Spring 2024, for example, attackers can efficiently test login attempts, access an AD environment using tools like Nmap. So why it works and how it avoids lockouts. Most lockout policies in Active Directory are designed to detect multiple failed attempts on a single account. Password spraying avoids triggering these policies by using one password attempt per account. Spreading attempts over time, for example, every 30 minutes or more. Staying under the radar for threshold values like account lockout threshold, maybe 5 times. Reset lockout counter for maybe after 30 minutes. This allows the attacker to remain stealthy while testing common passwords like, as we said, Spring 2024 or password 1 or something. So now, defense tips. Enforce strong password policies with complexity and expiration. Enable account lockout, alerts, and threshold monitoring. Implement MFA or multi-factor authentication wherever possible. Monitor logs for unusual login patterns across many accounts. So now, lab setup. So I have this Windows Server here as the domain controller. I have, as always, my Kali Linux here. And we have this domain. If you look here, you can see my domain.local. So first, we need to determine whether a Windows Server is a domain controller. So from Kali Linux, you can use several methods depending on your access level. A common approach is to using Nmap. So let's jump to our Kali. Let's log in Kali here. So we can, the easiest and stealthiest way to check if a server is a DC is by scanning it with Nmap. So let's grab a command here and paste. So this command will check all these ports. What is important here or very important or very big indicator is this one, if it's open or not. So let's run that command. So this command will scan only these specific ports, which are commonly used by Windows Active Directory services. The SV, as you can see here, -SV, tries to detect the version of the services running on these ports. So if ports like the following, like the 88, which is Kerberos, the 389 LDAP, the 445 SMB, the 464 Kerberos, the 3268, which is global catalog only on DCs. So if port 3268 is open, which is the global catalog LDAP, it is a strong, very strong indicator that it's a domain controller. So this port here, and as we can see, it is open. It's LDAP. So this is a very big indicator that this server is a domain controller. So next, we need to use Crackmap or CME, which is a post-exploitation tool designed for penetration testers and red teamers working in Active Directory environments. It is often called a Swiss knife or a Swiss Army knife for assessing Windows networks. So we have, let's grab this command here and see what it should do. So this command will use this file here. Let's first take a look at the file. So I have created a text file. So cat users. So this file includes many usernames. First name, last name, first name, last name, first name, last name, divided by a dot. So one of them is this one, is really from the Active Directory. This, we will test this account. All other accounts does not are not in the Active Directory. And we will, let's paste that again. We will use this password here, spring123, on every username. So we will grab this username, for example, and this password and try to log in. Next, this username and this password, try to log in. This password and this and try to log in. So this is the password spraying. We're spraying this password on all users. So here, the Crackmap SMB use the SMB protocol module to interact with Windows file sharing and authentication. And the continue on success, it means continue testing other users even if one login is successful. Because by default, CME stops at first success. So let's run that command and see the result. By the way, this is the correct password for this user, for the Olivia. I think Olivia, yes, Olivia Brown. And as you can see here, we have a plus here, which means this means your password spraying attack worked. So the username and password combination is valid. You are spraying a single password, which is spring123, across multiple usernames. So what we did now, we have tested this password on all these usernames, which is the core concept of a password spray. But what happens on Windows logs, for example, when we try that? So let's jump to our Windows here. Let's open as administrator. And let's grab this command. Copy and run. This command will show us the count of failed, how many times we have failed to log in. So this PowerShell command retrieves all event logs related to failed login attempts, which is event 4625, as you can see here, 4625. and counts them. But why isn't the target user getting locked out despite our attempts? So why Olivia does not get its account locked? So let's try now. Let's take a look at this command here, the net accounts. So what's important here is this one. So the net accounts command in Windows displays and manages account policies, such as password requirements and lockout settings. So what is important for us here is the lockout threshold 5. That means 5 failed logins, and after that an account lockout for 30 minutes. But what we did here, it was a successful try, so the account will not be locked. But we can lock the account. Let's do a for loop here to lock the account. So this for loop will try 5 times and use a wrong password, and that will lock the account. So let's wait that to run. So what is going now? It is testing this password on this account 5 times. So we can use that command. So now when this is done, the account, let's wait a little bit. Now, so now the account is locked out, and we can use a PowerShell command to see that. So we can, which is not a command, it is a small maybe script. Let's run it here. Not this one. Let's grab it again and put it here. As you can see, this script checks if this user is locked out, and we can see as the time is 1:11. So this is a user account was locked out. So now our user is locked out. So I'm trying to show the difference between running the crack map to spray password and try this a wrong password on the same user 5 times. Because as we could see here on the net accounts, the policy says after 5 failed tries, lock out the account. So now it is time to hack some SMB shares. So let's jump back to our gallery. So first we need to know what shares are available on the server. And to do that, we can use this command here. Let's paste that. So here, this command uses the SMB client to connect to a Windows SMB or server message block share with specified credentials. So here we are using this domain. This is our domain controller. This is the username, and this is the password. So let's click enter once here. And as you can see, status account logged out. Because of this, the account is locked out. So we can't do anything. So let's unlock the account here. Let's go there and that, and check this, unlock account and apply. And let's run that again. Okay. So here we can see all the shares on the server. So let's try to test this one, the C share. This needs, so this is an important test. This share needs an administrative permissions. So if we can get to this share, that means that Olivia's account is an admin account. So let's get this command here. and paste. So here, simply we're saying this is the domain, this is the user, this is the password, and we need to show us the C share. So let's press enter. Okay, access denied. So that tells us that Olivia is not an administrator or does not have enough permissions to view this share. So let's try the next one, which is in this example, the temp. So we look here, you can see we have a share temp on the disk. So we can use the same command, only change to temp, something like that, and click enter. And now we are on the share, so we have succeeded now. Now we have access to the share. We can use ls command to list what is inside the share. So let's try. By the way, we can type help here. So we have many commands that we can test, but let's first list what is inside that share. We have one file. So maybe you are interested in that file. So we can use the command get to download this file to our Kali. So get and click tab once and you will get that. But what if you want to upload a file to server? For example, in this case, people want to upload Mimikatz, for example. So let's try and use the command put here and click tab once here. So let's see what we have 2 times. Okay, first let's look what is inside that folder, temp folder, this one. We have only this file, but using the put, let's try to put this file here, for example. Copy, paste, and now our file now is uploaded to the server. So let's, as we can see, now it's here. So now how to see who are all other users on the DC server. So let's exit from this. So knowing all other, so let's grab the command first. So we have this command, paste. So this command will use the username and password and show us all other users. Let's press enter there. So knowing all other users on a domain controller is extremely valuable for an attacker. It opens the door to several types of attacks and escalations. So we have attacks like password spraying, as we do here, brute forcing, phishing or social engineering. So real usernames can be used to craft targeted phishing emails as well. So evading detection. Using valid usernames makes the attack seem like legitimate login attempts and more. So now, defense tips for blue teams. So restrict anonymous share enumeration. Enable detailed audit logging for event IDs like 4625, the failed login, the 4624, the success login, and the 4740, which is the account lockout. Limit login access to only needed shares. Use tools like Sysmon for deep event monitoring, Zeek for anomaly detection, and detect excessive login attempts with SIEM rules like Cisco Splunk. So that wraps up our hands-on password spraying lab using Kali, Linux, and Active Directory. So again, a disclaimer. This demo is for educational and defensive cybersecurity awareness. Do not attempt these techniques on any production or unauthorized systems. Always stay ethical. So this video is done here. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.